All right, I'm getting not a thumbs up, but a pointer finger from the surrogate engineer over here. All right, a thumbs up means that the show has begun. My name is Sam Irvin, and the show that I just referred to is this one. It's Asheville 8 Note, Asheville 8 parentheses PM Note, the show where I have different Asheville musicians on to chat for an hour and then jam for an hour. Today I've got Rick Davis coming on, creative leader at Creative Cat, 3 Cats Creative. And, oh wait, but don't you have 4 cats? You were telling me earlier?
One of them is an intern.
Okay, we have 1 intern cat. I am not, usually I'm monitoring myself on my computer and I'm not seeing it. Oh, it is up now. In the tradition of the show, I use my computer to make sure that everybody can hear me. Oh, and I'm coming through loud and clear. My apprehension is audible through YouTube. Anyways, I do this show for 3 reasons: to build community. Rick and I are old friends. We go way back, but I think we could stand to know each other even more deeply. Yeah, and this is the moment. We're gonna really get into it. We're gonna forge that bond. I've had, we've done a lot of episodes at this point. And so several episodes and a lot of people have been through the studio. I'm excited to have even more on. We got, some full bands coming on soon, that I'm really excited about. Community, reason number 2, for me to carve out creative space in my life to do music for fun, rather than for the grind. The jam portion of this is going to be really casual and noisy. I think that tonight we're going to play some drums, and Rick had some great ideas about writing a song, and I did not prepare the technology soon enough. So we're not going to write any music today, but we're going to play some guitar and bass and maybe synth and some drums and just fool around and get and jam and gig. We're gonna go to a gig and record that too. Anyways, reason number 3 I do this show is because there is a lot of equipment in here that I want to practice, and get better at. A lot of AV equipment, a lot of knobs to turn on synthesizers and mixers, and a lot of recording software and gear that it's just a miracle that anybody's hearing me right now. I'll throw that out there. And you are, because I checked it. Right at the top of the show too, I should say, if you're watching this anywhere besides YouTube, maybe pop over to that YouTube channel just to like and subscribe it. Maybe when you go to sleep tonight, start the playlist of Asheville 8 Note, just let that thing play out. That might be helpful, but the most helpful thing you could do is actually to check out the new Patreon that I finally got around to making. This is the first episode since I have my Patreon up and running, and it is patreon.com/Irvin Music Studio. Irvin Music Studio's Patreon is up. There you can support us for as little as $3 a month in perpetuity, hopefully. That's my hope, that anybody takes me up on this. All right, my guest is taking off. He's going in the other direction. I think it's just me, everybody.
Dad was calling.
Oh, your dad was calling?
Yeah.
I hope it's not urgent. Should we get him on the show?
You won't remember the
Should we let it? Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I think, that I'm also noticing that I forgot to turn off my HVAC. Do you hear that sweet rumble? Is anybody else hearing this beautiful, sweet rumble? So, for the first time in the history of the show, rather than dead air, I'm going to invite you on. You're going to fill up the airtime while I go turn off the air.
Oh, don't turn off the air.
You don't think I should turn off? Oh.
Will it get hot down here?
It will not get hot down here. It is a humble basement studio, Did I mention that I'm Sam Irvin? And
Maybe.
I think I'm the host of this show, and I think I'm Sam Irvin, and I think that it's time to have the guest Rick Davis on. Come on down. Why don't you join me? And also, why don't you tell a joke or something while I go turn off the air? Oh yeah, but first, this guest intro music that I worked is painstaking to get it in. All right, 3, 2, 1. Yes. All right. Excellent. Okay, break. Now we're all moving.
Howdy. Thanks for everyone coming who I invited. I will get up now and move so Sam can sit down.
All right. Not so bad. That's the perfect level, that's the level of seriousness and professionalism that I approach this live stream project with.
All right.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me.
How are you feeling?
I'm ready to rock and roll, ready to talk. And it's interesting to see you with clothes on.
That's right.
Because usually we're naked. No, I know Sam from the sauna at the YMCA, and usually we're just in our bathing suits, and we're both swimmers, so I know him from the pool, also bathing suits. So now we're fully clothed.
We'll get kicked out if we're naked.
Yeah, maybe. It's a weird why.
I would kick you out of here if you were naked right now too. It is.
He wouldn't have let me in the door.
That's true. Yeah. If you showed up naked. The Y, many Y guests have been on. Sam Browse, the Hill Climbers were on a mere 3 weeks ago or something like that.
Yeah, Connor, the bass player, is going to be performing on one of my new songs that I'm writing as we speak. Mm-hmm. So that'll be interesting to have a stand-up bass on one of my tunes. Yeah,
you're deep into a bunch of different facets of music, aspects of music. You're a multifaceted musician and music enthusiast.
I believe so. I try. I don't actually try.
Effortless.
Effortless. I've jammed for almost all my life. I remember my first discovery of, that love of music when it first hits you when you're a kid, and that memory of that moment. I remember I was 8 years old, and a friend of mine in the neighborhood took me to some kid's house who had a drum set, and the drum set was sitting up on a riser facing the other way, but the drummer was playing Barracuda by heart. Mm-hmm. And I remember standing there behind the drum set, and it was right in front of me, and it was that moment that I knew that I would be playing drums someday. And it wasn't until 6 years later that my mom bought me my first drum set.
Okay, because you mentioned off camera, privately. I don't know if I should share it, but I'm going
Absolutely.
to. That you had learned on cardboard boxes and pots and pans and such like that.
In fact, didn't take anything really seriously until I lived on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation as a kid, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. My mom was a teacher for the Bureau of Indian Affairs at the time in the mid-'70s. I'm old. And I actually carved drumsticks. I whittled tree branches to make drumsticks to then play on cardboard boxes and mom's pots and pans. And for that reason, when I play drums, I don't cross my hands like many drummers. I play like this because I never really thought to cross my hands. Anyway, so that's where it all started. And I moved on in bands and stuff in high school, and eventually took up bass and got a 4-track recorder, Fostex cassette. And that's when it all really started. And I got a guitar, and it all came together. I started writing really bad songs, in high school and college, but learning the tracking environment on cassette. It was so great. You could bounce tracks and get up to like 7 tracks. And you could keep bouncing, but it would degrade pretty badly.
Okay, yeah.
But got some really decent sounding stuff from a cassette. And then I moved on to ADAT, the Alesis ADAT, which was 8 tracks of digital tape. And that really opened so many more doors. Are you familiar with the Alesis ADAT?
No, I came in and started recording with Pro Tools, and then I've been stuck there. Yeah.
Well, yeah, so I started my first venture into software was a program called Easy Vision. And it was like super easy. And I took to it amazingly, and I learned to like program drums in there and all that stuff. And then it became outdated. So I moved up to Vision, and it became confusing for some reason.
It's harder than easy vision.
Yeah, vision is harder than easy vision.
Makes sense.
And so I didn't really take to vision. Years went by. I kept recording just straight up into the recorders instead of doing digital stuff on the computer. Eventually, I arrived at Pro Tools, and that's where I am now. Now we're both Pro Tools. And
yeah, let's talk about only Pro Tools for the rest of the session. I'm sure there's so much more I need to know about Pro Tools. I know there's like a looping function in Pro Tools that you can use it like Ableton or Fruity Loops or whatever, but I haven't accessed that. I haven't figured that out at all.
I've never looped anything.
Yeah.
I know you can loop a drum beat and just have it go and then write the whole song while this loop is playing.
Right.
But I don't know how to do that. I just extend the whole thing out 5 minutes or whatever. And
yeah, copy paste.
Yeah, right. And just spread the whole thing out and then write the song over that. It's the same thing. It's looping itself just over a distance.
Yeah, right. It is, yeah. Manual looping.
Right.
A bit of a misnomer perhaps. I said that, your big word, I'm trying to put one word on each flyer now, was marketing. Yeah. And then you're like, is it too late to change that? But you work in PR for pro audio gear, which is a very specific thing. And I really want to get down to the philosophical of whether public relations is marketing.
Yeah.
PR and advertising seems like it falls under the marketing umbrella.
Yeah. Marketing's the umbrella. And then you've got advertising, PR, social media, and all the things that fall underneath. But yeah, really the nature of what I do in that realm is as a writer. I'm a writer. My career was not in music. My career was in advertising in Chicago. So I spent my career writing radio, TV commercials, and
so you're a real madman.
Yeah, real ad agencies, direct mail, stuff that still exists but is bad. We used to do like really creative direct mail that was good. But yeah, and a lot of that has changed. The industry has changed. Social media has taken over. I mean, there's still TV commercials out there, but it's just really hard to get into that realm anymore. And locally, radio, which I would love to get into with my studio, Pattersong Studio. I just started a new venture for myself, Pattersong Studio. I figured I'd been recording myself for 35, 40 years. Maybe I should offer it to other people that might want to have a demo or whatever. So I'm doing that now. And
you got a social media presence going on for that, right?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. And to be honest with you, as I mentioned earlier, I'm old. So I don't really get Instagram. Like I know Facebook, and I want Instagram to be like Facebook, and it's not. So I don't really do much on there.
It's all about the pictures, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And stories and videos, reels.
Yeah. Maybe I'll figure it out. I don't take a bunch of pictures and videos, though, so I guess that
it's hard to stay on top of it. Yeah,
I know. It's like, it's just so different. The advertising today is more of that. So for me to talk marketing today in that realm, I'm probably not your guy.
That's right. So if you tuned in hoping to get some great marketing advice, especially the social media, that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Pro Tools for the next hour.
Yeah. And just jamming, writing songs. I mean, the craft of writing songs for me is I'm always trying to improve my songwriting and arrangement and lyrics, getting better at lyrics. And good thing is I'm a writer, so writing lyrics somewhat comes naturally. But I feel like just recently, and I'm reading a lot about mixing and producing and like EQ and compression and like different mics and like these. It's Tape Op magazine, if you've heard of it.
Absolutely.
That's
a wonderful resource.
Yeah, it's great. It's an interview based publication, and they interview people who are behind the music that we all know. So it's just interesting to see different approaches. So I'm implementing a lot of that in what I'm recording now for myself, and I'm bringing in guest musicians as well to play on my stuff.
Like Connor.
Yep, Connor. And I had a friend of mine who lives in Michigan send a lead guitar part for a song I did a couple years ago. And that was really cool. That was my first foray into distance recording.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It was really neat. And the funny thing is, the secret to that, what happened was, and we haven't told anyone, and I'm not even going to mention which song it is, but he sent me his track, and I placed it in my song 2 beats early. But when I went back to listen to it, he played lead over a section that I had put, for lead guitar, and it was awesome. So I kept it.
Ooh, some rhythmic modulation.
Yeah, so I sent it back to him, and he said when he first listened to it, he said, "Is that even me? Is that my?" And then he's like, "Oh yeah." And I said, "Dude, it's 2 measures early by mistake, but it's awesome." And he said, "Dude, listen to it the way I recorded it." And I said, "No, I don't want to hear it the right way now because it's already awesome." So anyway, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is neat.
So it was like a mistake that turned out well.
Yeah, and I've got one of the drummers that's been on this show does session work from his house and wants to get more into that world. And I am about to start the recording process of my first album. I finally got the whole thing written out, and so I'm really excited about that. And I might have. I've got a drum part in mind. He's like a real metal guy, and some like blast beat stuff that I wrote that I don't think I can play.
Okay.
So maybe he'd be good for that.
Is he going to hook up double bass?
I don't know. In his house, he probably has that going on. I mean, yeah, he definitely has that. But I'm worried that the sound will be so much different than my studio,
If he does it at his place.
Right.
Yeah,
it'll really stick out compared to all the other songs, which will probably be recorded here. So I'm still on the fence about it. But it's really interesting how people, now there are whole bands that have never met, and like in the gent community especially.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's even like a decade old talking about gent. But yeah, that was like the first sort of online genre. Bands like a Mo Symphony, like the algorithm, and all based on like that Meshuggah feel. Do you know that band Meshuggah?
I've heard the name. I don't know the music.
Check out some Meshuggah.
And it's people who never met.
It's Meshuggah has met. They're an they're an awesome band. But gent music, I think, started online with people like, "Hey, can you play this riff as fast as I can play? How fast can you play this thing?" Sort of, competition or like writing the craziest stuff.
Yeah.
And then we sort of ended up with like Polyphia, right, and Periphery, and these other sort of metal bands. I don't know.
Don't know those bands.
That's okay. Let's talk about something else.
I was metal in high school, but that included Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, all the old school.
I've heard of those bands.
I know. Amazingly, they're still touring, and they're 800 years old.
Right. Black Sabbath's touring?
Not Black Sabbath.
Is Ozzy?
Ozzy
did something.
Might be. I think he might have retired.
Yeah, probably.
But Iron Maiden's still touring, and their singer, Bruce Dickinson, flies their big airplane. He flies them wherever they go. He's a pilot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's this jet that has, like, the Iron Maiden, Eddie guy on there, like, on the side of it. It says Iron Maiden. It's a big it's a jet.
That's awesome.
I know.
That's the dream.
You fly all over the world, and he's the pilot. That's pretty cool.
One day, the Asheville 8-note jet will be out there.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope to be invited on that.
We'll see how this interview goes.
Okay.
So, when you're so you've recorded with Funderman and Harry R.D. Is that right?
R. Harry D.
R. Harry D. Pardon me.
Yeah. R. Harry D. is my current artist name that I'm using for the songs I'm writing now. Mm-hmm. And I've got songs up on all the major streaming services: Spotify, Apple, Amazon,
others,
Deezer,
Tidal,
whatever the hell that is.
You're on Tidal.
I'm even on YouTube Red in Russia. So, just so you know.
Just in Russia?
Just in Russia. I don't know where else YouTube Red would run.
Oh, right, because it's premium here now.
Right, it's just YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought the red part was kind of funny. Russia, YouTube Red.
Is that? I'm just putting that together.
Is that for real? Is that on purpose? I don't know.
They tried to change it, but they couldn't.
It was too late.
Yeah.
I just find it interesting, and I have to be honest again.
Please be honest.
I'm old.
Oh, okay.
But I lost interest in writing music for quite a while, and I always had my stuff in my studio, and I just felt really bad about myself for a while because I realized, like, why don't I have the incentive to go down there and just do it for myself? And I realized that there is a certain component of a musician that wants other people to hear what they're doing. And I realized that I was no longer a performing musician out there with my band. I started just like getting depressed on like who's listening to my stuff. I work so hard on writing these songs, and then who listens to them? My best friends and my my parents. And it's sort of like that didn't give me the incentive. And then this streaming stuff showed up, and DistroKid, which many of you have heard of, is this. I'm not sure what you call it, a distribution company, I guess, that allows you to post your songs on their site. Not their site. You post it to them. They then send your music on to like every streaming service. I mean, I'm on like 30 streaming services. It's crazy.
It's amazing. Yeah. Distribution company. I've got a tab up on I was comparing them. I found this great article on Ari's Take. Have you ever been on this website? Some good music marketing. And so they compared DistroKid and TuneCore and CD Baby and AWOL and Amuse and Ditto Music and Fresh Tunes and Horus Music and Lander and 1RPM and Route Note. If
I've never heard of
where you
these.
grew up. Song Trader and Sound Drop and Spin Up Music and Stem and Symphonic Distribution and United Masters. So
I've only heard of DistroKid.
same. And DistroKid's the first one, so I think this is an article like...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think DistroKid's the most popular one. And then there's like this chart with like all of those and all of this information, and I saw all of this. It's so tidy and beautiful, and like, wow, good for whoever put this together, but it was immediately intimidating, and I did not read it. And now it's just a tab that'll stay open on my computer for...
Well, it's nice to know there's
a long time.
like other options, but my point about DistroKid for me was as soon as I discovered that, and actually discovered it in Tape Op magazine.
Oh yeah,
That's where I saw it. I'm like, wow. So it's like $30 a month. I mean, a year. Is it? Yeah, it's a year. It's like $30 for a year, and I can have 2 artists up. So I have my old band from the mid 2000s, Funderman, Fundermin, and my new artist, me. Solo is R. Harry D. So the knowledge that my music would now be out there for people to hear, besides my parents and my friends, re-incentivized me to get back in my studio and start writing again.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I wonder if I could be motivated in a similar way. I've never really, I just tell maybe I'm in hardcore denial like that. I'm not that sort of artist that feeds on other people, like the applause or whatever.
Yeah.
I love to just tinker.
Yeah.
And if I could have my way, I would just do that all day.
Yeah.
But
I like to tinker, but I think you came into music differently than I did. Like you're actually an educated musician. You know theory. You went to music school. You know all this stuff. I'm just a dude who knows bar chords and like taught myself to play drums with whittled tree branches, So
that's quite an origin story.
So I think your approach to music is definitely probably from the get-go more technical than mine, which could relate to that being your approach to music, wanting to tinker more than worry about playing live, because of the way you came into it was knowledge-based.
Yeah, perhaps. It is fascinating how many variables there are to, tweak.
Yeah.
Just I lament not having more time to do it, but then I get to like a weekend and I like sit on my couch or I go out to see a show or whatever. There's always a cost, and I'm just not paying that price to work on my own music recently.
It's a
tearing me
balance.
up.
It's a balance, though. You'll come back into it, and I know that now for myself. I came right back into it, and I'm better than I was before.
Yeah.
You take the time off, maybe things meld.
Mm-hmm. So how long have you been, when did you discover DistroKid? What's this timeline like?
About 3 years ago. 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I did take a little bit of time off in 22 for various ridiculous health reasons and other things. So I didn't do a lot of recording in 22. So what I did was I released some of my older solo music that I felt was worthy of putting out there. So while I was downtime on creation, I was able to still keep stuff out there.
Yeah, that's cool.
So there's some stuff that's like not recent, but you can't really tell. It sounds like me.
Yeah, and are people finding it in Russia on YouTube Red?
Yeah, I did the thing about DistroKid that's really cool, it's kind of like what you're looking at here with Ari's take. They have pretty deep analytics on what's happening. And I found, just going through it, I found this amazing chart from the very beginning of me being on DistroKid. Every song listed out. Every time it got played, listed out. I mean, it's pages and pages of stuff. So, like, I'll see the same song listed like 30 times in a row. Sometimes it's the same streaming service. Sometimes it's different. But I discovered I have people listening to my music all over the world, like Pakistan, Greenland, Russia, just Britain, just all over Africa.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
really
what
cool.
in the heck is going on?
That's a trip, man.
I know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'd keep writing,
Yeah, that's really rewarding. I feel inspired. I'm gonna get on DistroKid tomorrow.
Dude,
I got
it's
some old
great,
stuff.
man.
Slap it up there.
Why not?
This podcast, this is available as a podcast. That's something I forgot to say up top. I see it get downloaded from time to time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it feels good,
I
right?
think most of them were you.
Probably.
It does feel good. But it does feel good. Yeah, somebody's listening to this, cares about it.
Yeah, it's like silent applause.
That's right. Let's give a moment to just let that applause happen. Yeah.
Okay.
It feels good.
Yeah. I felt it wash over me.
So let's talk about your approach. Like when you sit down, like why do you use Pro Tools? Were you using Pro Tools when you had to buy all the gear from Avid to, the M Audio stuff? Is that?
No, I just, when I decided to get back writing music, it was 2018, and I bought a MacBook Pro.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Focusrite interface
Yeah.
with the 8, the 4 in the front and the 4 in the back, 8 inputs.
Yeah, cool.
And I got a key controller and a Kai.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got all, obviously you can do the sounds from it that are in your factory settings for Pro Tools.
Right.
So that's where, I can create drums, conga, whatever. You know how that goes. It's like every instrument in there and, all these sounds and Pro Tools. And
I'll be honest, I haven't gone down that road with Pro Tools of all the MIDI instruments.
oh, it's pretty deep. Yeah. And the cool thing is, even if it's something that sounds like it sounds right when you first listen to it, there's so many manipulative things within Pro Tools, you can make that original sound more original than the Pro Tools original sound.
Right.
And make it your own. It's pretty cool. So it's,
infinite possibilities. Yeah.
But I did realize too that, you do have to get in there and like really manipulate stuff, because there are people out there who know Pro Tools so well, they'll hear a factory setting like that in your music. Be like, bop, Pro factory setting. You didn't do anything with that setting,
Did you get called out in the comment section?
No. But I know there are people out there like reading tape op.
Oh, right.
They'll say like some producer, like, oh, you can hear it in the music. It's a factory setting. I'm like, oh shit. So I started. Excuse me. I started.
I took the brave stance of I don't censor my guests.
Okay, so we can speak French.
You can. You may. You
Merci.
can have a sailor's mouth.
Merci beaucoup.
Un pied.
Un, deux, trois.
Hey, did you ever listen to Marcy Playground?
Dude,
I love Marcy
it's
Playground.
funny you mentioned that. I have a
Okay.
story.
Wait, but can I tell the joke at the end of that Marcy Playground song?
They changed my musical life, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're amazing. Yeah.
I know. They're from Chicago.
Maybe you should tell your story first. I'm interested. They're from Chicago? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, all the music I made on my 4-track and my tape, the punching in. That's the other thing, too. You can't punch in on Pro Tools. You can. It's a mechanism where you set it up pre-roll and then... But I haven't gotten into any of that. The cool thing about the 8-track stuff is on the Fostex, it had a bubble, literally a plastic bubble with a line, and you would hit that. You'd listen to the song. You'd punch into the track by punching your foot down on this bubble, and it would press your track down.
Oh, okay.
So it was punching in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the Alesis ADAT, much more sophisticated, had more than a bubble, and it was an actual thing.
Okay, sure.
So
Well,
anyway,
fun.
back to Marcy Playground. So in using those tracking machines, I was always just tracking music. I never wrote songs as a singer-songwriter,
Oh, right.
where I was playing my guitar and then singing at the same time and creating a song that way. I had never done that. I discovered Marcy Playground, and it's the first and only band where I have ever learned a cover song.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a couple of their songs, just where I could sing it and play it enough where I got my, there's a thing. You have to not think about what you're doing here so that you can think about what you're doing here. It's a weird thing.
And I've learned a couple of Marcy Playground songs and to sing and play them. Brand New Day.
Yeah.
That song makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
Because he's singing about crying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could cry. I could cry just thinking about it. It's such a good song. It's beautiful.
They're good.
They're such a good band.
Yeah, man.
And then another one, Lights, All Lights Went Out.
Which album is this?
I don't know. I just listen to it on shuffle usually. It's Marcy Playground.
That's another difference in my age and now. I don't sit around streaming stuff. Like, I don't listen to a lot of music anymore because I don't sit around with earbuds in my head.
Oh, yeah.
I just...
What about driving around?
That's when I hear music.
That's pretty much when I'm listening to music, too. I get sort of exhausted by thinking about music all the time, and so
Right.
I don't really listen to a whole lot of music around the house. I try to make myself listen to music, like, first thing. I'll put it on, like, when I wake up, because I've got, like, Google Home, and so my alarm is my lights turning on automatically, and then music happens throughout my house, and I'm often tempted to just turn that off. I'm like, I need quiet.
Yeah.
But whenever I don't and I let it ride, often I'll do the Discover Weekly with Spotify to make sure that I'm getting like new music in my diet and making sure to like the stuff, and keep track of like songs.
That's cool.
And then my mood is vastly improved for the rest of the day.
That's cool.
Yeah. But if I try to listen to music like later in the day, it can be sort of exhausting. So I do podcasts more.
Yeah.
often.
I've started getting into podcasts. Have you ever heard of Asheville 8 Note?
That's the only one I listen to.
Because I've been getting into that one lately.
Yeah, it's Asheville 8 parentheses PM
Yeah.
end parentheses
Yeah.
note.
I didn't want to say all that.
Okay, fair.
So Marcy Playground.
You learned one of their cover or a couple of their songs.
I learned Sex and Candy. Their
totally.
big hit.
Yeah.
And then what's the name? It's a girl's name. The reason I can't remember it is because I played it at my neighbor's birthday party, and I put her name instead of the name of the...
Sherry Fraser.
Yes!
Yeah.
I learned that one, and that's all I learned. That one and Sex and Candy.
Yeah.
And that was all I needed to start writing my own music. So the band Funderman is a result of me playing guitar and singing and writing my songs that way.
Heavy Marcy Playground influence.
Just
It's interesting.
just on that bridge to get me to sing and play at the same time.
Yeah.
Like Funderman sounds nothing like Marcy Playground
right.
at all.
Right.
But it was just learning those two songs got me over the hump of how to sing and play, and it changed my songwriting for Funderman. It became my songs were different.
Yeah.
It was a clear result of
Yeah,
the
I
synergy.
haven't written songs that way. Writing songs to say, I've written a couple, but none that I would put on my album or whatever.
Yeah. Well, now the funny thing is with our Harry D, I'm back to writing the old way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So talk to me about that. Wait, the joke at the end of there's like a hidden track in one of the Marcy Playground albums, and like a bunch of like a minute of silence after one of these songs, and then they're in the studio and one guy tells a joke. And do you remember the joke? It's like there are two cats and they're gonna swim across a river to get to the other side. There's the 1, 2, 3 cat and the un, deux, trois cat. There's an American cat and a French cat.
Okay.
Which cat gets to the other side first?
That's hard to say.
The American cat gets there first. 1, 2, 3 cat, because un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq. Yeah.
Good one.
It's good. It's good. Can't take credit. It's all Marcy Playground.
Solid.
It's a good joke.
I'm trying to figure out what album that is.
I don't know. They've got 3, maybe 4.
Yeah.
They're all so good.
I got the
It's a
second
special
one,
band.
I think. I don't even think I heard the 3rd or 4th album.
Oh, okay.
That might be what you're referring to, those songs. I might not
Could
even
be.
know those tunes.
Oh man, it's worth it.
I know, I got to get back into it. Like I said,
Them
though,
and
I don't
like,
sit around listening to music. So I'm like, where would I sit around listening to them now? I literally have to go in front of my computer and put headphones on and go to Spotify. It's like, why
not on your phone?
I don't do that.
And like Bluetooth headphones.
I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like crap in my
Don't
ears,
like
man.
change.
No, I don't like crap in my ears.
You can get Bluetooth like
Eh,
normal headphones.
it's okay. I just don't want to hear music in my head all the time. It's in my head all the time anyway, just in my own head.
Yeah.
If I have it, it's like, I just can't, I don't know why. I can't just listen to music like that.
It takes a really special mood for me to settle down in that way. I think all of our, dopaminergic systems are totally ravaged by, social media or like all of these different things throughout life. Our attention spans are just decimated.
Mm-hmm.
I can't pay attention to anything. I forgot what I was about to say. See, there's an example of it just now.
Well, I have that problem too.
Forgetting stuff.
Yeah.
You were talking about TV commercials and the Y. I'll walk into the Y and the TV's on and I despise it. It is like sports or
ESPN.
commercials. Yeah. And it is just like the most like little bits of like outrage, but it's like vapid about nothing,
You must be listening
Or
to
like-
Stephen A. Smith.
Is that right? I'm not a big sports guy in general, so it doesn't mean anything to me.
He's the one always yelling on ESPN about the time we're at the gym. So
Oh, okay.
that's probably what you're hearing.
That makes sense. I despise it. I feel like I'm being poisoned. Like this is bad for my mental diet.
You know what it is for me? I do watch it. It is the escape from the news. And it's like these people are being passionate about something that isn't that important.
Okay.
Thank God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like everything's so important now. This is kind of important if you want it to be. Cool, I'll check it out. And they get passionate, and it's an escape from all the crap that's in our face these days.
It's a good point. Yeah. We've all got it. I love Zelda. It's not important.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so much Zelda content out there. So tell me about like your approach to music. Yeah, you sit down in Pro Tools. What do you're using a lot of MIDI equipment. Do you ever use like the which Akai MIDI controller do you have? Does it have the sequencer in it?
I'm trying to think of the actual number of it. I can't think. And if it does, I wouldn't probably use the sequencer in it. I just use it for sounds.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, notes and it's got the little punch. What do you call those? Pads.
Oh, yeah.
So I can do like congas and stuff with actual pads instead of keys. But my approach to music now, like for example, I have a song called "Dumb Stupid Hate" on up on Spotify by R. Harry D. And the way I did that one, I wrote the song over a click track. It was just blip, 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 blip. That was my drum track.
Yeah.
I wrote the bass, the guitar, the whole song over that, and then vocals. And by the time I had gotten the song arranged, performed, it was a finished song over a click track. But by the time I got to that point, I knew that song so well. I mic'd up my drums, 3 mics, overhead, bass drum, snare. That's it.
One overhead.
Yep.
So like a condenser, like a omnidirectional or yeah.
And it's the same mic I use for my vocals. It's the AKG 414.
Okay, yeah. I've got the 220 over there.
Yeah, I love that mic.
Yeah.
So anyway, the approach to that song was writing the whole song over a click track, then going in and performing the drums. It took one take.
The drums.
Yeah.
Because you're a drummer first and foremost.
Right.
Yeah,
and not that I sit around playing drums a lot. Like, I'm not really in practice I couldn't go out and gig as a drummer right now. But for my own music, I was really surprised that it took one take. I'm like, wow, the whole time I've been listening to this song and working on it, it was getting cemented in my head to the point that when it came time to play the drums, I knew every stop, every lick, every crash cymbal. And, you know, that's another thing, just a detail about drums and recording drums that I learned from tape op. In that song and in concurrent songs where I don't have real drums, I'll do keyboard drums, I still use real cymbals.
Yes.
So even in that song, Dumb, Stupid, Hate, when I was playing the drums, I mimicked crash cymbals. I didn't actually hit the cymbals. I went back and tracked my cymbals separately, each on a separate track, so that I could control the cymbals and mix the cymbals separately. Because sometimes what happens in a drum track mix, if you're not careful, the cymbals will take over your mix.
Yeah.
So I do that separately to control the cymbals and prevent that problem.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I've certainly used like electronic drums for the snare and the kick, you know, and plugged those in and then gone back and added the cymbals, but not to control the mix. But the mix gets like very awash. You know, my overhead mics are not picking up, you know, the hi-hat the way that I want. When I start tracking my drums, I'll add so many microphones, like one under the snare, definitely a dedicated hi-hat, you know, one on both sides of the kick drum to get like that slap of the pedal. I wish I just had 20 microphones, one for each each cymbal.
Yeah, that's mic'd up.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to like remember the cymbal hits, like where I wanted them to be, and keep track of all that.
Yeah,
so
and
that's
then,
impressive.
Well, then I pan them too in the mix. I'm able to pan the cymbals so that it sounds like, oh, that one's over there, oh, that one's over there.
Oh, right.
Because I had one overhead, so it allows it to sound like more than one mic.
Okay, yeah. I've got the dual overheads that people will be hearing tonight when we jam.
Nice. And you have to watch out for phase.
A little bit, yeah. And I was pointed, other live stream guests, I don't know who it was, probably Ben New, you know, pointed out that my mics were, I had them like that, which creates more phase because they're, you know, these are like shotgun condenser mics. And so now the head of the mic, what is the tip of the mic?
Yeah.
You know, they're close together, which reduces that phase.
Interesting.
Yeah,
How
I've
close?
never really heard that. They could be a
they're
little
super
closer. Yeah.
That's like an inch or two.
Yeah. Within an inch.
Interesting.
I think one of them needs to, yeah, they could be adjusted a little bit. So that helps with the phase. But yeah, I like to add a little bit of my little drum mixing tip is to put what is it? Why can't I think of it? Not flange, not chorus,
Reverb.
not reverb,
Delay.
not delay either.
Wow.
We're getting phaser. You got to put phaser on the
really?
cymbals. Yeah, dude. That's where it's at.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just a little bit.
I'll check it out.
It sounds like Zeppelin's drums
yeah?
often had phasers going. Yeah. And it just adds this like, you know, like a little bit of dynamics in the
I'll
that
check
wash. Yeah.
All right.
It's really cool. And then if you add the phasers, if you do have two overheads, then you can add the same phaser, but make adjustments to the rate and the feedback and such like that. Minuscule differences, just enough, and it'll widen the sound because it'll, you know, that effect will be slightly different. I try to do that on anything stereo that I'm doing with the mix. It's like, you know, if I'm double tracking, just to spread to. Like if I'm recording an acoustic guitar and I've got one mic on it and a DI or whatever, I'll make those mixes quite different to try to, you know, and then pan them.
Yeah. Makes it sound much bigger.
Yeah. I interrupted you though. I feel like you were talking about, or maybe I also interrupted myself. I was going to say that it's cool too to do the drums at the end of the track because I always think about building everything up off of the foundation of the drum so you don't have to listen to the click track 1,000 times.
Yeah. Well, the thing I noticed though is if you do lay down drums first, just do a basic beat so that it sounds like a looped beat. Like if you try to lay down something that's in your head and then you think you have the accents already and like, you know, the bass drum accents and all that, And then when you start writing, sometimes you'll realize, crap, now I'm married to that accent. That's the wrong spot for that accent, for this riff. But because the drums are already down, you're like, it's either do it the way you wrote it now or go back and like redo the drums. So then I thought, why redo the drums? Just play over the click, you know?
Oh, right.
So I'll do that sometimes, but mostly I'll do a looped beat and then go back and add dynamics and cymbals and maybe change the beat if the riff requires it to, you know, adhere to the riff a little better.
Yeah, maybe some fills.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, there's so many ways to write music. I mean, I know people that have a completely different approach than I have. And I mean, yours is totally different than mine. And but that's the beauty of it. You end up with a song.
Yeah.
And no matter which way you came from, you know?
I buy a Scrabble board game and I take out all of the letters that aren't A through G. And then I fill like a huge garbage bag. You know, I have to buy like actually a bunch of Scrabble sets.
Okay.
And so then I just start pulling out, you know, A. And then I put that on the bass. First note's going to be A. And I pull out
interesting.
B. Then I put that on the guitar. So I write round robin. And it always goes in order too. I pull out C.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How's that happen?
It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just how I write music, you know?
It's like tarot cards writing music.
Yeah. Aleatoric music.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it's working?
It's working for me, yeah. Most of my songs sound like scales.
I haven't heard any of your actual like music that you wrote.
Oh, I'll show you some.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't send it through the stream, but at the end, off camera.
Yeah.
But I'll have to take a video of your reaction to post on Instagram because social media is so important. Exactly. I'll make that. I'll replace the card at the top of this video with that reaction. Get like 1 million views all of a sudden.
Yeah, let's go viral with that look.
Yeah. You can comment, by the way. Let us know what you're thinking. If you've got any tips for us, we can see your comments right now on this laptop. Tell us if you've got a good joke. Are there any other jokes in the Marcy Playground discography that I missed? Let me know.
Oh, there is one other cover song that we learned for Funderman's live performance.
Of Marcy Playground?
No, it was Billy Squire. Stroke.
I don't know.
You don't know the Stroke? No. Oh, dude. Classic rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Classic rock like The Twist? Or like...
No.
Okay.
80s.
Okay,
80s.
gotcha.
Yeah, Billy Squire had 2 huge hits. The Stroke and... I forget the name of the other one. But you got to check out The Stroke, man. It's you can tell that he was influenced by Zeppelin at the time, because it wasn't really that much far past when Zeppelin was still playing. Maybe they were still playing in the 80s, but...
Yeah.
So there's a little hint of Zeppelin-ishness in it, but it's such an easy song. You know, it's just, chords like that and easy vocals. So I said I didn't learn cover songs. That was the one other cover that I ever learned.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm on the wedding circuit. I know so many cover songs, so many classical guitar arrangements of songs I never thought I'd do. Call Me Maybe.
Oh, wow.
That was a favorite. Some Disney songs.
That's
some
awesome,
country. Doing classical guitar arrangements of country tunes is always kind of weird.
So you have to create these arrangements.
Yeah.
For your classical delivery.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You really find piano charts that have the chords and the melody, and then put that melody on top of those chords.
Yeah, see, that's the difference right there. You read charts.
Yes. Yeah, I have charts.
To me, a chart's a piece of paper. With, like, stuff on it. Foreign language.
Yeah, it was interesting just now for you to say that, or like that you're writing the tune, or like that if you were to record the drums first, then you would be married to that accent when you're writing the guitar or bass part. But I feel like when I'm recording, I like already have some sheet music.
Yeah, when I say writing, it doesn't mean this.
Yeah,
it
it's
just
like
means
you're doing it in the moment.
Yeah, writing from here. and directly to here.
Do you ever like forget how to play the song?
Well, yeah. Well, here's a funny thing. One of my two of the Funderman songs that are up there with the Funderman collection back in the day didn't make it to the studio with us. So I did them myself here in my studio. Just because they were two songs that they should have gone to the studio, but you only have so much time and they got cut.
Yeah.
So I did those two on the new system. And what was the point of what we were saying just now?
I'm not sure, but I think your mom just commented. She said we're great.
Hey, thanks, Mom.
I hope more musicians are on here too.
Yes.
But I appreciate the comment.
Oh, are you saying we should add some now?
Right.
So, shit, I was trying to figure out what my point was in writing those two songs.
Don't curse.
Oh, crap. What was the point of that?
Writing music, forgetting how to play something.
That's it. So when I went back to record my old songs, I had to go relearn my songs. I'm like, what the? It was like a song I'd never played in my life.
Totally. And then you're figuring it out by ear.
Right.
Yeah, you have no sheet music.
And right up until I actually recorded it, I was playing like one wrong chord. Just totally wrong. I'm like, what is that? What is going on? And so I went back and did it again, learning it. And I'm like, oh, jeez. It's so much easier than what I was attempting to do now. Like what I did then was just free flowing. No wonder I could write it and sing and play it because I was writing it as I was singing. And when I went back to learn it, I'm like, it's somebody else's song. You know, it had been 15 years or 20 years. So
that is somebody else, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Who was I 15 or 20 years ago?
Joe Strummer.
It was just my birthday.
Oh, okay.
It was Joe Strummer?
Joe Strummer.
Who's Joe Strummer?
The Clash.
Are you saying Joe Trummer
Joe.
or Joe Strummer?
Joe's drummer. No.
The Clash, they're great.
Yeah, I think he was
That's
Clash. Joe Strummer. I hope I'm right.
I don't know, man. Was he a strummer or a drummer?
He was a guitarist.
Okay, so he's a strummer.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he was the Clash. Gosh, I hope so, because Mr. Classic Music here should know that.
Well, is there anything else that you do know that you want to spit out? Because we're basically at the end. Is there a message for the people? Is there something inspiring that you want to say? How do you identify through music? I had all these questions that I was saving up when I first started this show. I was like, I really need some insightful questions. They were like, how do you identify through music? How, what does music do for like your self-expression? And like, do you define yourself reciprocally through music, in a certain way? But another one, like, have you run into a challenge and how did you overcome that challenge? Like, what are some problem solutions?
Well,
but I stopped asking that stuff because it's too
sometimes
in the weeds.
In Pro Tools, it's somewhat of a challenge. Sometimes when you've got a full song, 10 tracks, and you realize, oh man, I want that part to be longer, or I want to insert, say, a bridge. I always have trouble highlighting all those tracks and sliding them over exactly to the point where they need to be to put the thing in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Every time something gets screwed up, I'll go back and listen to it, and something ended up being off from where it was when it was here.
Yeah.
So that becomes a real problem, and it's just so frustrating. You start sweating, you're like, and you stop, go upstairs, you wait till the next day. It's like, I am
That's
not
the
dealing
solution.
with this crap right now.
Yeah.
And eventually, sometimes you have to go in and literally move every damn beat back to where it sounds right. It's like, painstaking. And that's when it's not fun.
That's what they don't tell you about writing music.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of tedium, a lot of frustration.
It's very time consuming.
Yeah. And in the end, though, it's totally satisfying when you have a finished product that you can go, hell yeah.
Yeah, don't compromise.
I got it there after all that.
Yeah, don't compromise. You got to move every beat. When you got to move every beat, you can't just give up and say, I won't do what I was trying to do. I don't think I've ever said oh, never mind. I'm not gonna, like it's too hard to, when I'm trying to insert something into Pro Tools or something like that. Never had that moment of like, I'm not gonna move that.
It's temporary. Oh yeah. No, you have to do it.
You got to do it when you have that idea.
Yeah.
You can't compromise on yourself.
Because then you know forever. Gosh, I should have been in there.
Yeah, right. I'm excited to show you some of my music, man.
Yeah.
But first, we'll show these great people our music.
All right. Well,
which we've worked really hard on.
Yeah. We've got like 20 songs that we don't know together.
Yeah. I wrote all this sheet music, but it's not going to help.
Just put me a chart up there.
Yeah. You got this. So we are going to take a quick break. If you're watching on Instagram Live or anything besides YouTube, maybe pop over to YouTube. Again, list of stuff, comment, like and subscribe on YouTube. There is a Patreon for Irvin Music Studio. So
what
Patreon.
You said that before. I'm not familiar with Patreon.
Patreon is like a subscription service where you can. It's like a social media thing, but people buy memberships, and then there are different tiers of memberships, and you can offer more material to different membership tiers. So like my first tier is $3, and they don't get anything except for knowing in their heart that they're supporting me and this show and this platform for other musicians to get on here. Mm-hmm. And that's the supporter. And then I think there's a $10 membership where I'm going to start live streaming my morning practices and my composition work when I'm recording my album, and they'll have access to that,
behind the scenes. Yeah,
some behind the scenes action. And then there's a bigger tier too, but I'm not quite sure what to offer for that yet. Maybe some polls of like, what should I, maybe solicit ideas for who to have on the live stream, or, what should I be doing with my life? And just let people start controlling my life if they pay me enough money.
Or if they pay you enough, maybe they can record some little sample that you'll insert into one of your songs, and then they can take ownership of that little sample.
That's an interesting idea, like a fan collage of music that I have to arrange. Yeah. Talk about tedium, perhaps.
Or simpler than that.
I'm sure all the parts would be great. The tedium would just be...
Yeah, putting it together. No, that'd be too elaborate. I'm thinking the people that are... who are paying that amount, whatever song you're doing, just take a piece of what they did and find a place within your music for it. So that when they listen to your music, they find that nugget that was theirs, and suddenly there's ownership for them over the song.
Yeah.
And that money they're paying suddenly becomes worth it because they feel that they're a part of it now.
That's such a good idea. Yeah. I'll take that into consideration. Especially,
let's call that marketing.
Okay, right. Thanks for tuning in for these marketing pointers. Have you ever gotten... I've always wanted to write a bunch, or like just gift people cell phone like ringtones for Christmas or something.
And how would you? I don't even know how to create a ringtone.
I think you just make a Pro Tool song and then you send it to somebody.
Oh, that does ringtones?
Or no, you just send it to your friend and say, use
like
this as a ringtone.
What? Oh, you can do that?
You can use anything as a ringtone.
Really? I thought it had to be like a ringtone thing, like a whatever.
At one point, like I made my ringtone like, hey, your phone is ringing. And I thought it was really funny for like 1 week.
Yeah.
And then one day I was just like, really, it's like hearing your own voice.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man. And it lost its luster.
How does it get into your phone?
But now I might do that again. It was pretty funny. I made my own ringtone.
But I mean...
my phone's being used for Instagram Live, or I would...
But like how
it out.
Anyway.
How do you what?
How do you get the ringtone in your phone as a ringtone?
Well, you download the sound file, and then you got to go to the whatever file organizers in your phone, files, and then you go, often there's like an audio folder or like a sounds folder. You go into that bad boy. Hopefully you've saved it in a name that's recognizable, right. Not just a bunch of numbers. But, sometimes you just got to start playing sounds. Once you find the one that you want to use, usually you can click and hold it, which is like the equivalent of a right click. Or you're a Mac guy.
Yeah,
You don't even right, yeah.
Right click, yeah.
I think I might switch over to the Macs.
Yeah, it's a creative computer.
I think so, yeah. I love my computer. I built it myself, so there are problems all the time.
Oh. But you know it really well.
I do, yeah, inside and out. This was Asheville. No, we're going to come back. This is not the end of Asheville 8 note. 8 parentheses.
PM note.
End parentheses.
Do you need me to
No.
press a button over there?
No. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit, I've got this blackout button, but it doesn't end the sound. So just so you know, we'll still be
Okay.
recorded.
So I can't just start
audio.
farting.
That's right. Please don't.
All right.
As soon as black out here. You are Rick Davis, and I am Sam Irvin, and I think that's all the stuff. Continue to feel free to comment and like and subscribe and do all the things. Is there other things that people, broadcasters say, streamers? I'm still getting used to it. On episode 69. All right, blackout.
Good night and good travels.
Well, we will be right back to jam. All right. Boom. The red fader.
This one?
Yeah. And you're plugged into all of those pedals, so you can mess around. Thanks, everybody. I'm not sure which camera angle's on right now, but this was Asheville 8 Note. Next week, we'll have somebody else on.